My ex-wife was stealing my son's clothes, so I came up with a plan to stop her for good. This is a story about a father trying to do the right thing for his son, Alex. He has primary custody during the school week, and his ex-wife, Jen, takes Alex on the weekends. He makes a good living, more than she does, and he takes pride in making sure his son has nice, quality clothes. But after every weekend visit, those nice clothes would simply vanish. And when he finally confronted her, her response would drag them both into a legal battle he never saw coming. It started subtly. A shirt missing here, a pair of jeans there. At first, he figured they were just misplaced. Kids lose things, right? He'd send Alex off to his mom's on a Friday afternoon in a brand new jacket or a nice pair of sneakers, and on Sunday evening, Alex would come back in a different, much older outfit. The father would wash the clothes Jen sent back and put them in a bag for the next visit. But the good stuff? It never seemed to make the return trip. Weeks turned into months, and the problem got worse. He started noticing real gaps in his son's closet. The drawers were looking thin. The expensive winter coat he'd just bought? Gone. The designer shoes Alex loved? Vanished. This wasn't just forgetfulness anymore. Something else was going on. So, he decided to call Jen and ask a simple question. Hey, can you send back Alex's clothes? A lot of his good stuff is missing. He expected a simple answer. Oh, sorry, I forgot to pack them, or, they're in the wash, I'll send them next week. He did not expect a war. Jen's voice on the other end of the line was ice. She didn't just deny it. She went on the attack. She claimed that she bought those clothes, that they were her property, and that he had absolutely no right to ask for them back. He was floored. He had bought every single one of those items. He had the bank statements, the credit card receipts to prove it. But she wouldn't budge. The argument escalated until she hung up on him. A few days later, he got a letter from her lawyer. She was formally accusing him of harassment and claiming ownership of their son's entire wardrobe. He couldn't believe it. This was a woman who chose to go on expensive vacations but apparently couldn't be bothered to buy her own son a decent pair of pants. And now, she was trying to legally steal the ones he had bought. He had no choice. He had to lawyer up himself. The whole situation became a ridiculous, expensive ordeal. He spent hours digging through old emails and bank records, printing out receipts for t-shirts and hoodies, proving that he was the one who had purchased them. It cost a fortune in legal fees. All because his ex-wife wanted to keep a closet full of clothes that weren't hers. In the end, the truth was obvious. The judge ordered her to return everything immediately. A few days later, boxes arrived. But it wasn't the victory he'd hoped for. Some of the clothes were there, but many were damaged. A shirt came back with a mysterious stain. A pair of pants had a rip in the knee. The expensive coat he'd bought for Alex was nowhere to be found. He later heard through the grapevine that some items had been sold online, while others were given to her relatives for their kids. The disrespect was staggering. She wasn't just taking the clothes, she was profiting from them or destroying them out of spite. He knew right then that nothing had been solved. The court order was just a piece of paper. She would find another way. She had shown him exactly who she was. What happened next is the part one still can't believe. He realized he couldn't change her, but he could change the game. He wasn't going to spend another dime on lawyers or another minute arguing over something so petty. So he came up with a new system. A brilliant, simple, and utterly infuriating system. He went to the local thrift store. He walked through the aisles and picked out the most worn out, faded, and cheap clothes he could find. He bought a small collection of stained t-shirts, pilled sweaters, and jeans with thinning knees. This became Alex's official, weekend wardrobe. From that point on, whenever it was time for Alex to go to his mom's, he would be dressed in these thrift store finds. Clothes that he didn't care about in the slightest. If they disappeared, it didn't matter. They cost him a few dollars at most. All of Alex's nice clothes, the new shoes, the good jackets, the school outfits, stayed locked away safely at his house, never to cross the threshold of Jen's apartment again. He even asked his son, Alex, who was 11, if he was okay with it. Alex was smarter than most adults. He completely understood. He told his dad that when it was time to go home on Sundays, his mom would always say his nice clothes were in the wash, and hand him the old, crappy ones to wear. He knew they were vanishing. He just wanted to wear his good stuff to school and with his friends during the week, so he didn't care at all what he wore for the car ride to and from his mom's place. Especially since Jen refused to drive him anywhere on the weekends anyway, so he wasn't seeing friends or going out. This was the same reason Alex had to quit a sport he loved. Jen wouldn't take him to the weekend games. The clothes were just one symptom of a much bigger problem. It didn't take long for the inevitable text message to arrive from Jen. It was a long, furious rant. She called him cruel. She called him a monster for sending their son to her in rags. She said he was embarrassing Alex. And then, the real reason for her anger came out. She wrote, "You make more money than me. You should just let me keep the clothes you send him in. It's not fair." He read the message and just shook his head. It was never about the clothes. It was about control, and it was about entitlement. She felt entitled to his money, even indirectly through their son's wardrobe. He simply replied, "If you want him to have nicer clothes at your house, you are more than welcome to go buy some." He never got a response. He told his sister about the whole situation, expecting her to be on his side. Instead, she called him petty. She said, "It's just some clothes. Why are you making such a big deal? Just give her some of the nice ones to keep the peace." Her words stung. Was he being petty? Was he sinking to her level? He thought about it for a long time. He could afford to replace the clothes. It wasn't about the money. It was about the blatant theft, the lies, and the complete lack of respect. It was about teaching his son that you don't let people walk all over you, even if they're family. This wasn't just a dispute over a few shirts. It was a stand against a toxic pattern of behavior from a co-parent who refused to act like a partner. He was already fighting for full custody because of her unwillingness to participate in their son's life, and this was just another piece of evidence showing she couldn't be trusted. He had tried being reasonable. He had tried communicating. He had even tried getting the law involved. Nothing worked. This was his last resort. On one hand, you could see his sister's point. It's a bitter, draining fight to have with the mother of your child. Maybe letting it go would have been easier. But on the other hand, he was dealing with someone who had proven she would lie and steal from her own child's closet, then force a costly legal battle when caught. She wasn't just taking clothes, she was taking advantage of his generosity and creating a toxic environment. His solution stopped the problem cold, without lawyers and without arguments. Is it ever okay to be petty when you're protecting your child and your property from a dishonest co-parent? Or should he have just taken the high road and kept buying clothes for her to take?